And finally, what you've all been waiting for, on to the Leafs. Finally, I thought this guy was going to go on forever. Burke and company have been very busy since July 1st, making a lot of signings and a trade. Let's take a look. On July 1st, the Maple Leafs signed Colton Orr to a 4-year, $4 million deal. This guy has been in Burke's sights for a while. Rumor has it he wanted to sign Orr since he first set foot in Toronto. Now this guy is one of a dwindling breed, the NHL enforcer. The Leafs have been without one of those since the retirement of Ty Domi. You know what? I really like this signing. He has Burke's favorite qualities. He's big, truculent, belligerent, all of those Burke buzzwords. This makes Leafs bigger and tougher, harder to push around, which is something we need. Moving on, also on July 1st, the Leafs made an interesting trade. The Leafs dealt defenseman Pavel Kubina and the rights to Tim Stapleton to the Atlanta Thrashers for Garnet Exelby and Colin Stewart. Because apparently with the rights to Stapleton, Kubina, and Antropov, Atlanta's trying to become the team Toronto was last year for some reason. Exelby is a 27-year-old defenseman, and Colin Stewart is a forward that will likely be in the Marlies next year. This is another move that makes the Leafs just a little bit bigger and a little bit meaner and harder to play against. Now, I'm glad Kubina's gone. I know some people like him, but it's good that we got something in return for him while we still could, and we've relieved ourselves of another aging defenseman and another big contract. But I'm not happy about dealing Tim Stapleton. This guy set a club record for points in a single season for a Marley last year, and now we're moving him. He was one of the most promising players in our system, and I believed he would have been cracking the NHL Leafs lineup next year, but apparently he's gone. But I think this guy has a promising future in the NHL, I guess now with the Thrashers, so good luck, Tim. Continuing with the youth leaving Toronto, Jeremy Williams has gone to the Detroit Red Wings, and Jamie Cyphers has left to join the Minnesota Wild. Now, I'm not sure why these guys are being let go. I can understand Jamie Cyphers leaving, because of the blue line being taken care of, maybe it would be better for him to go play on another team, since he was just a call-up anyway. But I don't understand why we let go of Jeremy Williams. This guy has done nothing but score points while in a Leafs uniform, and I think he was ready for full-time NHL duty. It doesn't make much sense to me, but anyway, Jeremy Williams, Jamie Cyphers, you were good in Leafs uniforms, but Burke doesn't see you on his team in the future. So long. In another July 1st move, the Leafs sign one of the biggest names they've signed in free agency so far, former Habs defenseman Mike Komisarek. This 27-year-old was signed to a 5-year deal worth $22.5 million. Now this is more rebuilding of the blue line, which I predicted Burke would be doing in the offseason. After all, last season we were 10th in goals for, but one of the last in the league in goals against. So this is making the blue line bigger, harder to play against, and tough. Mike is a very Burkean player. He's big, he's physical, he likes to throw his weight around. He's young, he's a good defensive defenseman, and he can play on the first defensive pairing with Luke Schenn. Very good signing by the Maple Leafs. July 2nd, the Leafs take care of a little more business, re-signing restricted free agent Mikhail Grabovski. He's inked a 3-year deal averaging $2.9 million a season. This is a very obvious move for Toronto. He's a very promising youngster, and he was a flashy scorer last year. I think he'll be getting better in the years to come as he develops. A very good move by Burke, obvious choice. On July the 7th, the Leafs sign free agent defenseman Francois Beauchemin. This 29-year-old former Stanley Cup champ has signed a 3-year deal averaging $3.8 million a season. And this is just more stocking of the blue line. I mean, While this guy may not be a superstar, he plays rock-solid defense, he's a hard worker, played for Burke and Anaheim, and he does his job well. Now, some were upset by the size of Beauchemin's contract. I can see why. Some people are drawing comparisons to Jeff Finger, but I don't think so. I really like the signing. I think he'll turn out a lot better than Jeff Finger did. I think he'll be worth the money. Plus, we had a lot of cap room after shedding that massive Kubina contract. We're still well under the cap, so, not a lot of danger here. And finally, on July 7th, the Leafs made the most anticipated signing in Toronto of the free agency period. After taking advice from fellow Swedes Salming and Frugren, Jonas Gustafsson has decided to play in Toronto for his first season in the NHL. That's right, Burke has signed Jonas Gustafsson, the Swedish monster, to be a Maple Leaf. He's 24 years old. He's agreed to a one-year contract worth $900,000. Now, a lot of people are amped by this move, and I don't want to burst anyone's bubble, but I just want to throw out a warning. Don't get too excited about this guy yet. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great signing. I've seen some highlights of him playing in Sweden. He looks like a great goaltender. But just keep in mind that the Swedish Elite League is a lot different than the NHL. It's a lot more of a defensive game. I'm just saying it'll take a while for him to adjust to the NHL game, so he'll probably be a backup for Toscala over the course of the season. Now, some are saying that Gustafsson could take over the role of number one during the season. I don't see it happening. First off, let's think back a couple of seasons when Vesa Toscala and Andrew Raycroft were fighting for the number one goaltending position. Vesa Toscala played some amazing goaltending that season. He was pushed by Andrew Raycroft, and so the competition made him better. And I see that happening again this year. A lot of people are accusing Toscala of inconsistency, and they're basing this opinion, I think, based on the season he's had this past season. But let's keep in mind, during the course of the season, Toscala was constantly nagged by his groin injury. Now that he's had surgery, Wilson has been telling us that he's been recuperating quickly. He's feeling great about his groin, and I think he'll return to the form he had a couple of seasons ago when he was one of our best players. And if he slips, well, Gustafsson's waiting in the wing. And in continuing with this Swedish trend, Burke has also signed Jonas Gustafsson's teammate from Färjestad in the Swedish Elite League, Rickard Wallin. This guy was the captain for Färjestad last year, and some are saying this is one of the conditions of Jonas Gustafsson's contract. Wallin was signed to a one-year, $500,000 deal. The scoop on this guy is that he's good all around, which made him good in the Swedish Elite League, but he doesn't really excel in any area. This means that he's probably going to be a third-line guy on the Leafs if he cracks the lineup. So, after all these signings and trades, what does this mean for Toronto? Well, first, Toronto is set in net. The remodeling of the blue line means two things. One, Caberlet is likely done as a Maple Leaf. The blue line is getting very crowded. We have 10 defensemen under contract for 3 defensive pairings. We're getting bigger, younger, tougher. I just don't see Caberlet fitting into that mix. He's more of a speedy, puck-moving defenseman, where Burke likes his blue line to be big, tough guys who will knock you down. The second is that with the blue line set, we'll be looking for some good, young forwards. If we add 1 or 2 top 6 forwards in the next couple of months, I believe the Leafs will be able to make the playoffs next year. It's a bold statement, but looking at the way the team is right now, it's a lot different than the team we saw play last year, and I think it's a big improvement. Brian Burke is leaving his stamp on this team. Either way, the rebuild is well underway. The Leafs are looking very solid, very tough to play against next season. I love all these moves. Here's hoping that there are many more to come. Keep up the great work, Burke. Go Leafs, go. I can't wait to see this team in action in October. And I can't forget, congratulations to Joe Sakic. announcing his retirement after 20 years. Joe, you were a class act, a very good player, one of the all-time greats for the game. You will be missed not only by your fans in Denver, but by hockey fans all over the world. Congratulations on a great career. Next stop, Hall of Fame.